10 years is long enough to turn a music group into history. But for BLACKPINK, reaching their 10th debut anniversary in 2026 has unfolded in a way few fans could have imagined. Instead of a spectacular anniversary campaign, carefully planned reunion events, or a powerful statement reaffirming that the four members are still moving forward together, the milestone has been overshadowed by a series of controversies. From YG Entertainment's last-minute event announcements and uncertainty surrounding the lineup, to Lisa's silence and intense scrutiny of her appearance, the anniversary has created an atmosphere of instability. Yet if we look beyond the surface, the most important issue may not be Lisa's nose, her lips, or even the details of one anniversary event. The bigger question is this: where does BLACKPINK stand in its 10th year when it comes to the relationship between the group, its management company, and its fans? Lisa, from beloved member to the center of every spotlight. Among all the controversies surrounding the anniversary, Lisa has arguably become the most discussed member. A close-up clip of her appearance during the 10th anniversary livestream reportedly attracted around 1.5 million views. What is striking is that much of the attention was not focused on Lisa's words or emotions, but on her face. Some online commenters claimed that Lisa looked noticeably different from her earlier appearances. Previously, during her performance at the opening ceremony of the 2026 World Cup, viewers had already scrutinized her nose and speculated about possible cosmetic procedures. During the anniversary livestream, attention shifted toward her lips, with some people claiming that their shape also appeared different. However, there is an important distinction between observing changes in photographs or videos and confirming that someone has undergone cosmetic surgery. Lighting, makeup, camera angles, facial expressions, and image processing can all affect how a person looks. Online speculation alone cannot establish that Lisa has undergone a specific procedure. The more interesting question is why a milestone that should have been about BLACKPINK's 10-year journey so quickly became a debate over every detail of Lisa's appearance. That is one of the darker sides of global celebrity. At Lisa's level of fame, her face is no longer viewed simply as part of her personal appearance. It has become part of a global visual brand watched by millions of people. Even subtle changes, or changes that only appear to be there, can instantly become subjects of intense public discussion. But the controversy surrounding Lisa did not begin with her appearance. Lisa's position at the center of the controversy is also connected to another issue: her presence during the anniversary celebrations. According to reports cited in the original coverage, only 2 members initially expressed their intention to attend, while the other 2 had to make urgent adjustments to their schedules in order to appear together. Both Rose and Lisa reportedly had to travel from overseas to South Korea. On August 7th, reports that Lisa might not attend the meet and greet immediately triggered concern among fans. YG later confirmed that all 4 members would participate. But the sequence of changing information created a sense of uncertainty. BLACKPINK is not a newly debuted group. They have been active for a decade, have a massive global fandom, and remain one of the most influential brands in K-pop. With that level of influence, fans naturally expected a 10th anniversary event to be organized carefully enough that they would not constantly have to ask, who is attending? Is the group no longer interested in working together? What is happening behind the scenes? Lisa drew even more attention because she was the only member who did not immediately publish an anniversary letter alongside Jisoo, Jennie, and Rose at the beginning of August 8th. It was not until around midday that Lisa sent a message through Bubble, thanking Blinks for staying with her throughout the past decade and expressing her love for the fandom. She eventually appeared with the other 3 members during the anniversary livestream before quickly returning to Thailand. Her silence can be interpreted in many ways. Some fans were disappointed. Others believed she was simply being private and did not want to attract unnecessary attention, particularly given the painful events recently taking place in Thailand. In other words, Lisa's silence should not automatically be interpreted as a statement about BLACKPINK itself. YG is the bigger problem behind the crisis of confidence. If the entire controversy is reduced to Lisa, it becomes easy to overlook the larger issue, the way the anniversary was handled by YG Entertainment. BLACKPINK entered their 10th anniversary year without a major anniversary campaign that appeared proportionate to the group's enormous status. Only on August 6, just 2 days before the anniversary, did YG announce a BLACKPINK meet and greet for 40 fans. The time and location were initially not clearly disclosed. For one of the biggest girl groups in K-pop, this approach can easily create the impression that the anniversary was not treated as a major historical milestone, but rather as an activity arranged at the last minute. More importantly, uncertainty surrounding the participating members intensified the anxiety. This is perhaps the most dangerous problem for an entertainment brand. It is not necessarily a small event that destroys fan confidence. It is the feeling that nothing is certain. Fans can accept a modest celebration. They can accept the absence of a special album or a massive concert. What is much harder to accept is the feeling that they have to wait until the last possible moment to understand what is actually happening. The 7-year curse and the paradox of year 10. In K-pop, reaching the 10-year mark is particularly meaningful because so many groups struggle to survive the so-called 7-year curse. When contracts expire, members may choose different paths. Some groups disband, while others technically remain together but rarely promote as a full team. BLACKPINK has successfully passed that milestone. And precisely because of that, their 10th year should have been an opportunity to prove that the group is not merely surviving, but capable of redefining itself. Instead, another question has emerged. Is BLACKPINK entering a new era, or simply trying to maintain the image of a group that once stood at the very top? That distinction matters. A 10-year-old group does not need to operate with the same intensity as it did during its first year. Each member now has an individual career, independent business interests, personal priorities, and a global identity of her own. But maintaining a group at BLACKPINK's level requires more than simply putting 4 people in front of a camera. It requires a sense that we are still choosing each other. And that may be exactly what fans are searching for. The tears said more than a spectacular stage ever could. The eventual appearance of all 4 members helped calm some of the anger among Blinks. Yet instead of an atmosphere filled entirely with celebration, the gathering was marked by emotional moments and tears. Those tears can naturally be understood as an emotional response to looking back on a decade-long journey. But given everything that happened beforehand, they may carry another layer of meaning. They represent nostalgia for an earlier BLACKPINK that seemed deeply connected to its fandom. They represent gratitude for everything the group has accomplished. And perhaps they also reflect uncertainty about the future. Because after 10 years, the question, how much further can BLACKPINK go, no longer has an easy answer. The 6,901 rice cake box became a symbol of disappointment. After the event, another controversy emerged over the gifts given to the 40 fans who attended. According to the original report, the gift was simply a box of rice cakes valued at 6,901, or roughly 128,000 Vietnamese dong. But the real issue is not necessarily the price. A cheap gift can become priceless if it carries genuine thought and meaning. Conversely, an expensive gift can still disappoint if recipients feel it was prepared merely as an obligation. The controversy comes from the context. This was BLACKPINK's 10th anniversary. Only 40 fans were given the opportunity to attend. Naturally, many expected something memorable that reflected the rarity and significance of the occasion. As a result, the rice cake box became an accidental symbol of the entire controversy, small, simple, and perceived by some fans as disproportionate to the scale of BLACKPINK's milestone. BLACKPINK's 10th anniversary is actually a test of the group's future. From the outside, this may look like nothing more than a poorly received anniversary celebration. But from a broader perspective, it is a test. BLACKPINK has reached a stage where the members' identities are no longer defined primarily by their management company. All 4 have developed individual careers and enormous influence beyond the group. That means maintaining BLACKPINK is no longer simply a matter of scheduling 4 artists for the same event. It requires genuine commitment from all sides. If YG wants BLACKPINK to remain a global entertainment powerhouse, the company must understand that fans are not simply consuming music. They are investing in a story, memories, and a sense of belonging. And if BLACKPINK wants to enter its second decade together, the group does not need to prove that it is still famous. It needs to prove that they still have a reason to remain BLACKPINK. That may be the biggest question left after August 8. Because a group can survive 10 years through hit songs. But surviving another decade requires something much harder. Trust. And the 10th anniversary celebration, despite all its shortcomings and controversies, may have unintentionally exposed exactly what is at stake. BLACKPINK is not necessarily standing at the end. They may simply be standing at a crossroads. On one side is the memory of the girl group that once dominated K-pop through the collective power of 4 members. On the other is a future in which each woman has become a global star in her own right. That is why the story of BLACKPINK's 10th year should not be reduced to controversies surrounding Lisa, YG Entertainment, or a box of rice cakes. It should be defined by a much bigger question. After 10 years, how much do BLACKPINK still want to be a group, and can their fans still feel the answer?